Hi, I'm going to show you how to connect Mozart data as a data source for Zing Data. This will allow you to pull more than 300 different information sources into Zing Data and easily be able to query it from iOS, Android, or the web without having to write any SQL. Let's dive into it. First, we're going to log into our Mozart account just by going to mozartdata.com and hitting login. We'll drop in our credentials, and then we'll see the connectors that we have set up and configured. Here I have SendGrid and Amplitude already set up, and I can see that they've both synced within the last hour. If I wanted, I could add additional data sources, things like Salesforce, Workday, Google Ads, Facebook ads, or hundreds of other data sources that I'd like to be able to federate and make easily queryable. Once I've selected any of the connectors I want to configure, I could transform any of these data sources or unify them by, for instance, joining my Amplitude data and SendGrid data to see which users were getting which emails and clicking on them and how that related to their activity within my product. To configure Mozart to work with Zing, I'm going to go to the Integrations tab at the top. I see that there's a number of business intelligence tools I can connect Mozart to, and I'm going to go click on Zing Data. Now I'm going to go over to Zing Data and log into my account. If I didn't have one, I could create one here. So now that I've logged into my Zing account, I'm going to go to Snowflake as a data source and click Setup. From here, I'm going to copy over the credentials that I have in my Mozart environment. I'll copy over the hostname, the database name, the username, and the password. And then I'll hit check connection. This is where Zing will connect to the data sources that Mozart has pulled in from SendGrid and Amplitude and standardized in an easily queryable way. If I wanted, I could select which tables I want to expose and turn on or off the visibility of particular tables. So for instance, if I had some logs and that wasn't going to be very useful to most of the people querying this data, I could turn off, in this case, the audit information, because that's probably not going to be a set of data that's particularly relevant to the folks who would be wanting to analyze this. I now hit save, and I see that the data source has been successfully added. I can verify that by going to data sources and observing that this data source that I just added is showing up here. So now I'm going to start querying this data. Once I've set this up once, I really don't need to worry about it too much unless I wanted to add a new data source like a Google Sheet or Postgres or BigQuery or something like that, which could happily live alongside my data sets from Mozart data. So I'm going to click Zing App in the upper right. And there's some onboarding if I'm using it for the first time. And then I'm going to go to sources and look at the data source that I just added from Mozart. Here, I'm going to look at the number of events that users are taking in my product. So I'm going to go click on the event type table. And if I want to see what exists for a given field or kind of how it's formatted, I can just tap display or tap totals or tap any of these other fields that I'm interested in. And that will show me what that set of data looks like. So I see, for instance, display contains a bunch of event names, and that actually looks great. So I want to look at grouping user actions by event name or display name. And I'm going to get the sum of those actions. So I'm going to tap and hold totals and then go to sum. And you'll see I am now able to quickly run this query and get a bunch of results. Now, I see a lot of stuff here and probably want to sort it. So I'm just going to tap the x-axis and I'll sort it high to low based on the y-axis values. I can see that the most common action is people querying and interrogating their data, followed by a number of other events, like tapping into existing questions, selecting column actions, looking at their data source list, and so on. So I'm querying my amplitude data live up to the most recent hour as it's propagated over to Mozart data. I'm able to interrogate it in different ways. If I'd like, I can even go back and run full custom SQL queries just by tapping the three dots up here and typing in any SQL that I want here. So if I wanted to look at the count of distinct event names that I have, so I'll say count distinct display name. Great. And so this is going to tell me how many event names, how many unique events I'm logging to Amplitude. And I can quickly see that I've got 49 events instrumented. Now from here, I could actually tag someone on my engineering team and say, hey, Maria, let's add events for key steps of the sign up flow so that we can better measure that. So now I have created a query using my Mozart data source, done custom SQL on it, if I wanted to do something fancier than just sort of the visual query editor, tagged my colleagues, and if I'd like, I could even save this as a shared question so I can know if that number has gone up from 49. So I might rename this question as number of events captured in Amplitude. Hit OK. And this question will now be visible from the home screen to any of my colleagues. If we go back to the home screen, you'll see it up here. And I could see if my colleague Maria responds to it and takes actions on it. This is a great way to be able to analyze data, tag your teammates, and really create a data-driven organization where you're pulling information from any of your business systems and using it to make great decisions in real time.